Hi, in this lesson, we are going to start off with the energy resources. So, over here, we'll discuss what are the energy resources from which we can get the essential energy and we can fulfill our energy needs. So, the main energy resources are, I'm going to write it here, main energy resources. So, the main energy resources are fossil fuels. In the fossil fuels, we have oil, coal, and natural gas, and then the other energy resource is the nuclear fuel. And after that, we have biofuel, wind, hydroelectricity, geothermal, tides, the sun, and the water waves. So these are the main energy resources that we have available. And biofuel is basically is the energy resource where we get the energy resource from the biological waste. And wind, we generate the electrical energy from the wind. Hydroelectricity, we generate the electricity from the water. When water runs the turbine, then that turbine is connected to the generator, and from that generator electricity is produced. Geothermal energy is basically the heat energy that comes out from the earth crust. We use that heat energy to convert to boil the water, and that boiled water turns the turbine and we can get the electricity from there. Next is the tides, the energy from the tides that are produced in the ocean. We get energy from the tides as well. Those tides are connected to the generators, and they'll move the generator, and we are able to generate the electricity. The sun, we get the energy from the sun, like in the form of, we call it the solar energy. That energy is used to produce the electricity by using the solar panels, or it is used to heat up the water by using the solar geysers. Then the water waves, we put the generator within the ocean, and when the waves come, those generators are moved, and with that movement the electrical energy is produced. So these are the main energy resources that we have available. Now we'll distinguish between the energy resources. Mainly there are two types of energy resources: the renewable energy resources and non-renewable energy resources. So let's have a look at them. All right, so renewable energy resources. Renewable energy resources are those resources that can be reused to produce more energy. More energy in the form of electrical energy, the thermal energy. And non-renewable energy resources are those that cannot be reused again. So I'll write it here. The energy resources that can be reused are called the renewable energy resources. The energy resources that can be reused to produce energy. So these renewable energy resources could be the wind that can be reused to produce more energy. It could be tides, water waves, and hydroelectricity. So these are some of the examples for the renewable energy resources. So we can reuse these renewable energy resources and produce more and more energy out of it. Now on the other side, non-renewable energy resources. These are the energy resources that cannot be reused when they are burnt, when they are used. So mostly, first of all, let me write down the definition. So the energy resources that cannot be reused are the reused to produce energy. So these type of energy resources are called the non-renewable energy resources. For example, all the fossil fuels are non-renewable. So oil, coal, gas, they are all non-renewable resources of energy. Moreover, the nuclear fuel, once the nuclear fuel is burnt, it is used up in the nuclear reactor. We cannot reuse that nuclear fuel. So these are some of the resources of non-renewable energy. Now we will see where these energy resources are mostly utilized. What are the human needs for which we use these energy resources? So where the energy resources are mostly utilized. So there are three main areas in which we utilize most of our energy resources. Number one area is transport. In transportation, there comes car, the jets, the generators. No, generator won't come into the transport. The cars, all the vehicles, and all the jets and engines of the cars, they use the fuel to burn to run the engine of the vehicle. So mostly the energy resources are used in transport. Second is the electricity generator. So in electricity generators, mostly the energy resources are used to produce the electricity. Number three is heating. In order to provide heat energy to some of the environmental needs of the human beings, we use these energy resources. So let's suppose we burn the fossil fuels to generate the heat. We use the geothermal energy to produce the heat, and we use the nuclear fuel to generate the heat. So these are the three main categories for which all of the energy resources are mostly utilized. Now we will look at the reliability of the energy resources, of different energy resources. So in order to check for the reliability, we will divide the energy resources into two categories. First of all, the non-renewable energy resources, and then the renewable energy resources. Renewable energy resources. So renewable energy resources and non-renewable energy resources. So non-renewable energy resources are not much reliable because in case of wind, water waves, or the hydroelectricity, we are dependent on the wind. If the wind is faster, we can generate more energy. If the wind is slower, we will generate less energy. Same is the case of the tides. If the tides are high, then we can generate enough energy. If the tides are low, then we are not able to generate the exact amount of energy. So similarly is the case with the sun, because the energy from the sun is the non-renewable source of energy. It's the renewable source of energy. So the renewable sources of energy are less reliable. So I'll write it here. They are less reliable. They are less reliable sources of energy. Now coming on to the non-renewable, they are more reliable, because let's suppose if you want to generate a certain amount of energy, we will burn certain amount of fuel. It could be coal, oil, gas, or the nuclear fuel. So we'll be able to generate that certain amount of energy, and we are sure that how much energy we can generate with the non-renewable sources of energy. Now next thing that we will discuss about is the environmental impacts of the renewable and non-renewable resources of energy. So in the environmental impacts of energy resources, first of all we will discuss about the environmental impact of the non-renewable energy resources. So Non-renewable energy resources, as we know, they are oil, coal and gas, and the nuclear fuel. So oil, coal, gas, nuclear fuel, when they burn, they produce the carbon emissions in the atmosphere, oil, coal and gas. So it is harmful for the environment. Moreover, when nuclear fuel burns, it emits the nuclear radiations into the environment that is also harmful for the environment. So oil, coal and gas, they do the carbon emissions. So the carbon emissions are harmful for the environment, and they also emit the radiations like alpha, beta or gamma radiations that could cause ionization in human beings, that could lead to the cancer as well. So they emit radiations and emit carbon emissions, so they are harmful for the environment. They are harmful for environment. On the other hand, although the renewable energy resources are not that much reliable, but they are safe for the environment because it's a clean energy. Wind does not cause any environmental harm. The energy from the tides, the energy from the sun, the energy from the water waves, they do not harm environment in any manner. So the energy that is produced from the renewable energy resources is although it's not reliable, but it's not harmful for the environment. So it is not harmful for environment, and we sometimes call it the green energy. Green energy, it is environmental friendly, and these renewable energy resources can be reused again, and mostly it is free energy. We just have to set up a plant once, and then after that all the energy needs can be fulfilled by over the period of time. Now the next thing that we have to discuss is to deal with the environmental issues. So science can deal with the environmental issue, but there are some factors that are not related to science that could cause the trouble in the environment. Let's suppose there could be some political issues, social issues, ethical issues, and economic issues as well, where the non-renewable energy resources are preferred over the renewable energy resources. So due to those reasons, the non-renewable energy resources are used more as compared to the renewable energy resources that are causing the harmful effects to the environment, and we should try our best to reduce these effects. So this is it for related to the energy resources, and this is it for this lesson. Thank you.